once the computer starts working, I can show you.
You're ready to book it, Mum. You're ready to book it, Dad.
We just booked our tickets to Manila. So, I bet you've been wondering where we've been. Well, we left you last at Scotland. We made a load of Scottish vlogs. We loved that holiday. It was a real break moment. We got some space to ourselves. If you didn't know, we are living with our parents currently, my parents, and it was just a really good time. We really enjoyed ourselves. When we got home though, for me, I think I'm the one that had the weird moment. I kind of missed the fact that we didn't have a home of our own, and I was starting to kind of fall down a dark pit of not knowing what the hell we're supposed to do. As well as that, the channel wasn't really flowing for me very well. I wasn't feeling the videos. I didn't really enjoy what I was making after we came home from Scotland. It's like we kind of lost our purpose, and I just didn't want to continue because of that. So we ended up stopping videoing until we really knew what we wanted, and then what we were going to do is pick the camera back up and finally get back to making YouTube videos like we've always wanted to. As well as coming back to a really confused and befuddled environment, we also had to get back into our home education routine, and it just proved that none of us wanted to do it. It was actually getting more and more painful doing the home education, and it just didn't seem to be clicking or working for us. And we had kind of come to the end of our tether, especially with our eldest son Harry, who was just pushing against everything as hard as he could. So we had to start making some really difficult decisions about what we were going to do.
Homeschooling, we made a few changes due to a certain someone, because it just got really hard, especially being in the house with other people and people's different opinions on how to do it. The lack of want from children, and it's just, as parents, we started to question ourselves. You can't make it work. It's hard. You start questioning, is it right for the kids? Are you doing them justice? And at that time we didn't think we were doing that. We took the hard decision and enrolled Harry and Elwyn into school. Yeah, I hated it. I hated it because it felt like we gave up, and that I think it was the best for the kids, and now we're putting them to them back into school is putting them back into that box on learning things that I think is unnecessary.
So whilst Kev really hated it, I actually thought it was the best idea for all of us. At the time, I really wanted to start my art career, and Kev had his drinks business that he really wanted to put the time into, and we were just finding that with home education, to start off businesses and living at my parents just was making everything about home education like 20 times harder. I know he really didn't want to put the kids in at all. He was really against it until I convinced him that we are just going to keep fighting with Harry, and it's just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. A lot of our own conditioning about school got in the way as well. We weren't really sure what we were doing in the end. We wanted to unschool and not have such a strict regime, but then we were finding that we felt like they weren't doing enough at times, so then we were worried and we went back to more of the traditional home education system. We were just all over the place, and it was just, I know every day we were getting up, I just dreaded doing home education. I really didn't like it at all, and so we put the kids in school. We kept Oslo out of nursery and out of school for the time being. We were going to put him in a nursery until we realised what we wanted to do, and Harry didn't settle that great into school. It was a lot about rules, and there was a lot of bullying going on as well, right up until we left actually. Elwyn loved school. She took on it really well, and she still really loves learning now, which is amazing. But we just still deep down didn't feel like school was the right way. But it was just something we had to do at the time because it was getting unbearably difficult. So we put the kids back to school around October time, and in that time I started panicking a lot about money and work. We weren't working between August and October. This is when Kev quit his job, and we decided to pursue our passions and put some money into working and getting better at what we were doing. It wasn't really going anywhere for either of us, so I really started panicking about money and work, even though there wasn't really any need to at this stage. But I just wanted a buffer. I just wanted a small job just to kind of help us out, to just top up our account and give us some like extra money to get things that we needed, or to go out for dinner, or whatever we needed basically. So I, in the December, then applied for a job. And I feel like Kev also, he decided to apply for a job around February time. His was flexi work, so he could kind of pick what hours he wanted to do and say yes or no to the shifts that were coming through. Whereas my job was retail, and I did around 20-ish hours a week. Now this isn't a lot, but it really did help just cushion our funds and give us some extra money to work with, because we were spending quite a lot a month still.
As much as we chose to put the kids at school, get jobs ourselves, there was a niggle, I felt, between us, that we were going down a path that we didn't really want to take. And even to the stage that we were looking at renting places out, and we just sat up one day and said, why are we doing this? This is not what we set out to do by selling our home in Essex, that we go back to the same way.
Yeah.
So we looked at different options, such as van life.
Which we just couldn't figure out how to get it to work. With the roads here in the UK and how big our family is, putting 5 people in a van I know can work, but it just didn't feel like at this moment in our lives we could really do it. It may be like a retirement idea, but it was just not, we weren't finding the right thing, and we were going backwards trying to think of where to rent and having the right place for us, and it just felt really wrong. Like in my head I was just like, wow, no, this is not it at all, but we were still trying to convince ourselves to do it.
And also time was going by, and I think it was like Feb time, where we went for a walk, and you said we've got to put a plan into place.
Yeah, because it would have been another year at my mum's, which would make it, we were kind of getting into the trap of being almost 2 years there.
So we looked at travelling next, and the draw of America is massive, but then the scariness is so big, you don't know where to start with. And if you don't know what state to go there, that is too scary for us to...
It's too big of a country to know where to put
plunge.
ourselves. Not only that, but just the way America was going at that point, we just wanted to kind of stay away for a little bit. America is definitely up there on the list of places to go. Like, I'd love to go to Alaska. Kev wants to go to Texas. There's so many places there that we'd love to, but to put ourselves in that as first time travellers, it just seemed a bit too much to think about.
I used to work with a couple of Filipinos.
Shout out to Mario and Jean.
By working with them, I got to learn the Filipino way, and they're so kind, and what is such an attraction to the country is that community feel, the happiness of the people. I think at
no this point we were in, this was like 2018, 2019. This was way before we even moved, that he had met these Filipinos, and they were just always really nice and generous, and I think you even went over for a beer once.
Yeah.
And ever since then, Kev just got obsessed with looking about the country, so we started YouTubing it, and we started following all these YouTubers that go to the Philippines, the Juicy Vlog, and I think at the time Becoming Filipino and a couple of others. And then this year recently there's been so many more that have gone over to that country, and we've literally watched everybody's videos, and just it's never left us. We've never not thought about it. We've always been thinking about the Philippines since ages before the pandemic even hit. We were going to go on a honeymoon to the Philippines when we got married in 2019. Obviously 2020 meant that that never happened. And then it was always at the top of a bucket list to do at some point in our lives. Other countries, we've always liked the idea of going to them, but not as much. It didn't have as much of a draw as the Philippines. I don't know why. It's just a calling that we cannot quite understand what it is about it that we really can't shake off. So come January, we made that decision that we wanted to go to the Philippines and travel. It seemed like the best option for us as a family, that we stay in accommodation that we can fit everybody in comfortably, unlike a van, and
affordable.
Yeah, and it's also affordable over there at this current moment in our lifetime, because we just couldn't think about our lives paying for a mortgage or paying for rent and just working or going to school. It felt weird, so we did something about it.
In Feb, the Philippines opened up.
Yay!
To foreign travellers. So the draw was even more intense.
Yeah.
And
everybody was going there, so as soon as we saw that, we was like, right, I think
we've got to go.
We're gonna have to. And then we did our passports, and that was a long old process. And now we're here.
Yeah.
We're going to the Philippines.
In 3 weeks'
So
time.
excited. So if you guys want to stick around for our journey and see where we go and see if we end up loving it so much that we put our roots there in the place we've been dreaming of for like 4 years now nearly, then please stick around. And yeah, we can't wait.
No.
Let's get going.
And eat the lechon and
Yes,
hello.
You'd never know when to stop. On a more positive note, here are some really fun things that did actually happen to us throughout our time of not being here on YouTube. Oslo got his first haircut, and then it grew out, and now he looks like Patrick Swayze from Point Break.
I've been collecting Pokemon cards.
All my clothes have holes in like that one.
For my 30th birthday, I finally got my nose pierced, and it really bloody hurt.